Hello and welcome to our squat masterclass video. In this video we're going to take you through all of the steps to get the perfect squat, right technique, your setup, but also how to spot a partner and make sure that you do it safely and correctly. There's a few tip and form corrections that you can do in this video, so make sure when you are squatting that you're thinking about your form and technique and how you squat rather than just the weight that you squat. So we're trying to get the very best technique and form to make you into the best squatter that we can.
So guys, one of the first things you need to do is set up your correct rack height. So for me, I'm going to set this up in line with my shoulders just to show you this isn't quite the right size. So I'm going to put it up one more and then it should be correct. So I want it roughly in line with my shoulders, so when it's sitting on my back it's at the ideal level. When you put the barbell on, just make sure that the bar is nice and straight and not angled, so therefore you know that the rack is correctly set up. And again, I want to make sure it's the right height for my shoulders. Whenever you grab that barbell, you want to make sure that you've got a nice tight grip, about slightly wider than shoulder width apart. When I grip the bar, I want to make sure my thumb is over my knuckles, making a really tight grip so it's really difficult for it to slip out. Place your hands on the bar, making sure that they're evenly spaced and slightly wider than shoulder width apart. What you don't want to do is grab the bar evenly spaced and then bring your shoulders to one side of the bar, because as you push up, the weight will pull you down to one side. So make sure that your head is directly in the middle. If you want to find that center and it doesn't feel correct, bring it back down and then you can find that center again and try multiple times until you find that balance point. Lifting the bar off the rack, I want to make sure my feet are firmly planted right underneath the bar, my hips are underneath the bar, and as I press, it's a small movement. We don't want a massive squat to get the bar off the rack. The same goes for placing the bar back, making sure that your hips are underneath. As you go underneath the bar, make sure that the barbell is sitting on your shoulders and not on your neck. Once the barbell is comfortable, stand up and take 1 or 2 steps back until you feel comfortable. Make sure nothing's in your way and then you're ready to squat. As we go down, we're trying to keep our body as braced as possible. We don't want to drop to the floor. We want to keep tension through the legs, shoulders and lower back. Trying to keep tension through the glutes and the quads as we push up. Make sure that you keep your head up and back engaged as you go down, keeping that back as straight as possible without any bends. If you find your back is bending, then it is important to go lighter weight and keep to good, strict form. The last thing we want to do is have poor form and then with a high chance that you will damage yourself or have an injury. So keep your back straight and your head looking up at all times. Another common mistake is putting too much weight through the knees and not enough through your heels. You're trying to keep your feet flat with your back straight and your head looking up. As you go down to a squat, try and keep your hips back with your weight over your heels and arches rather than the weight over the knees. You're aiming to bring your hips slightly lower than your knees, or at least in 90-degree angles. As you get down to the lowest point in the squat, you're trying to keep the barbell over the center of your feet. This helps keep the glutes and quads engaged and minimizes any tipping forward or back. As you go down the squat, if you find your knees come over your toes or your heel comes off the floor, then you may feel unstable and your lower back will start to counteract. So try and maintain that barbell over the arches in your feet and keep your hips engaged and your glutes ready to do the work. Another common mistake when squatting is that people's knees will fold in when under heavy load or trying to perform the top end of the squat. To counteract this, try and push your knees out wide whilst also keeping your head up and also driving your weight on the outside of your feet. You're trying to maintain your knees directly over your ankles as you squat and push back up. Once you finish this set, you want to make sure that you re-rack safely. Walk forward with the bar until it hits the rig so you know that you're in the correct position. Once you feel confident that the barbell has touched the rig, then you can go down. It's a good idea to make sure that you look side to side to make sure that you're in the hooks correctly. Try to make sure you don't hook on each one individually, as this can be really problematic and really difficult to get out of, especially if you've got heavy weights in the bar. And when using the squat rack, make sure that you're always facing into it and not away, as this will be really difficult once you've finished your squat session and you're trying to re-rack the bar. You won't be able to see if you're in correctly. So make sure you're facing the bar and it makes your life a lot easier. When squatting on a rig, it's a good idea to have a partner there who can spot you just in case you can't control the descent or get up from the bottom of the squat. Having a partner there can just give you that confidence to squat a little bit heavier, so if you start to struggle, your partner can squat down with you, bring their arms underneath and then pull you up to achieve that final rep. If you're going for heavier reps, it's a good idea to have your spotter with you already. It's just so they can help you on your first or second reps. The spotter should be driving their arms up underneath your armpits to help keep your form and back into the rack nice and safe.